The federal government may sell stakes in about 20 state-run companies to raise funds and improve governance in the entities. This is according to a Bloomberg report. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation is among the firms the government may sell a stake in, according to the Chief Executive Officer at the Ministry of Finance Incorporated, Armstrong Takong. He stated that the agency is considering options including strategic sales and initial public offerings and aims to implement the plan within 18 months. Takong noted that some of the entities need the private sector to take controlling shares, and major consideration for government is to create value rather than retain control. And Nigeria's presidential spokesman has said that the nation's foreign exchange challenges are due to gross mismanagement at the Central Bank of Nigeria. Speaking on Tuesday, Ajiri Ngalale told reporters that Nigeria is facing dollar liquidity issues in its foreign exchange market due to gross mismanagement at the central bank over several years. President Bola Tinubu has launched a probe of the central bank under suspended and detained Governor Godwin Emefiele after criticizing its policies at his inauguration in May, especially moves to prop up the naira currency. His spokesman made the comments following calls by fuel retailers to increase petrol prices due to a weakening of the exchange rate on the black market, which absorbs overflow currency demand from the official market where the dollar is scarce. Government lawyers on Tuesday filed a 20-count indictment against Emefiele, one of them accusing him of conferring unlawful advantages. Emefiele has since challenged his detention by police and filed an application for bail. And also, the federal government has been advised to urgently come up with effective measures to tackle the surging inflationary pressure facing households and businesses in the country. Economic analyst Abdul Wariz Muritala gave the advice earlier in an exclusive interview with iBrandTV while responding to the recently released inflation report, which rose from 22.79% in June to 24.08% in July. According to him, the country's high inflation rate portends serious danger for the economy, as all economic agents from households, businesses and investors will be affected.
Basically, we are just getting to see the full impact of the subsidy removal and the rate liberalization. FX rate at the parallel market is currently trading at, I think, around 900 levels, so which suggests continuous weakening of the naira. And we also have some element of imported inflation in the country, as inflation remains highly elevated globally. So some level of imported inflation, FX liberalization, and subsidy removal, the whole policy reforms are some of the primary fundamentals that seems to have impacted the July inflation number. I think it has become very important for us to as individuals to look for other sorts of income to possibly cushion the effect of these challenges that we are currently facing. Another option we might have is to look at investment. So the importance of savings has never been more emphasized. So you can turn your savings when it's equals to investment. You can essentially try to invest in high-grade instruments, the likes of fixed income instruments, the likes of commodities instruments, the likes of fixed income instruments that would at least to some extent hedge you against the impact of inflation.
The Ministry of Finance Incorporated has set its eyes on the capital markets to raise funds as it seeks to meet its targets of having 100 trillion naira assets under management in 10 years. This was revealed at the closing gong ceremony held in honor of Ministry of Finance Incorporated at the Nigerian Exchange Limited in Lagos. Speaking at the event, the managing director of the ministry, Dr. Armstrong Takong, said they are expected to source funding for investment and for government entities, which is where the capital market is important. Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Exchange Limited, Temi Popola, in response, expressed the willingness of the exchange and other stakeholders to achieve the goal of the agency. The chairman of the Association of Securities Dealing Houses of Nigeria, Sam Onukwe, expressed confidence in the management of the Ministry of Finance Incorporated and hopes the demand for transparency in the capital market will bring discipline into government entities. And a report by Quadro Securities says foreign exchange liberation is likely to have a modest impact on banks' lending to deposit ratio. The securities firm said in a report titled Impacts of the CBN's Plan to Reinforce LDR on Tier 1 Banks that the banks may be forced to revalue their loans and deposits in foreign currencies. It noted that the Central Bank of Nigeria communicated through individual circulars to deposit money banks on the 24th of July 2023 a message to reaffirm its commitment to not only retain the minimum LDR at 65%, but also resume its enforcement of this directive effective 31st July 2023. The report analyzed Quadro's views on the possible impact of the policy on banks under its coverage. And also, the federal government will on Thursday arraign the suspended Central Bank of Nigeria Governor Godwin Emefiele and his associates for 6.9 billion naira procurement fraud at the Federal Capital Territory High Court, Maitama, Abuja. The case is for arraignment and mention. Emefiele will be arraigned alongside a female CBN employee, Saadatu Yaro, and her company, April 1616 Investment Limited, and on 20 charges of procurement fraud, conspiracy, and conferring corrupt advantages on his associates. Emefiele had been in detention since he was suspended from office on June 9th by President Bola Tinubu. Was accused of conferring corrupt advantages on Yaro, a director in April 1616 Investment Limited. The offense is contrary to Section 19 of the Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Act 2000. It convicted Emefiele. If convicted, Emefiele may be sentenced to 5 years imprisonment without an option of a fine. And airline operators of Nigeria have stated that Nigeria Air, the country's proposed national carrier, may not commence operations anytime soon because it does not have an airline operator's certificate. The spokesman of Airline Operators of Nigeria, Professor Obiora Okonkwo, said if Nigeria Air were to begin operations in October 2023, it will be doing so without a valid air operator certificate. Okonkwo said AOC is still on stage 1, and if the Nigeria Air are starting in October, they're going to be operating without AOC. Meanwhile, the CEO of Ethiopian Airlines, Masfin Tasu, in an interview on Friday, revealed that the new national carrier, Nigerian Air, would begin operations by October. He added that the firm was eager to see Nigeria Air start flying local and international routes. The federal government, through the Ministry of Aviation and Aerospace, has promised its commitment to support Nigerian airlines. The prominent secretary of the ministry, Emmanuel Meribole, who was represented by the Director of Air Transport Management of the ministry, Hassan Ejibunu, disclosed this at a reception organized by the government of Antigua and Barbuda to celebrate the commencement of direct flights between Nigeria and the Caribbean country by Air Peace Airline recently. A statement signed by the ministry's head of press and public relations, Oluseyi Odutayo, disclosed that the federal government continued to initiate and implement policies that ensured Nigeria's airlines benefit from the bilateral air services agreement signed by Nigeria with other countries. The Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda, Gatson Brown, in his remarks, said it was a new dawn for the relationship between Nigeria and the country. He emphasized the ancestral linkage between the Caribbean nations and Africa, which he referred to as the motherland. Rivoli and Antigua and Barbuda was home to every African, and his government was desirous in promoting economic and bilateral ties with African nations within the context of the South-South cooperation. You can go ahead and watch and follow us on all our social media handles and subscribe to our YouTube channel on iBrandTV. Follow us on Facebook at iBrandTV Media and on Instagram at iBrandTV. We are also active on X at iBrand_TV. You can watch iBrandTV live on StarTimes channels 143. Up ahead in the news, Ogun State Governor Dapo Abiodun converses innovative vocational training. These and more details after this commercial break. Stay with us.